Hello, my Ravenettes, it's Raven here, and today we celebrate the 75th anniversary of the invasion of Normandy, also known as D-Day, which was the second largest amphibious invasion since the invasion of Gallipoli in World War I, which was a huge failure and left over 58,000 soldiers dead. So the Allies were hesitant to attempt such a thing more than 25 years later. Fun fact! For those of you who have seen Saving Private Ryan, the boats they used to invade the shores of Normandy in the first scene were actual landing boats used in the D-Day invasion. Spielberg borrowed them from a museum's storage facility for shooting in 1998, and it worked just as well as they did 54 years ago. I've left a link down below to the article where I found that. Number of Allied casualties. According to Wikipedia, German casualties on D-Day had been estimated at 4,000 to 9,000 men. Allied casualties were at least 10,000, with 4,414 confirmed dead. But who came up with the invasion tactic? Future President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who is at the current time, which was 1944, Supreme Commander of Allied Expeditionary Forces, gave the green light for the huge invasion of Europe in Operation Overlord. By 1944, over 2 million troops from over 12 countries were in Britain in preparation for the invasion. On D-Day, Allied forces consisted primarily of American, British, and Canadian troops, but also included Australian, Belgian, Czech, Dutch, French, Greek, New Zealand, Norwegian, Rhodesian, and a Polish naval, as well as air and ground support. Now, this next section I'm reading from a link I've left down below for www.history.com. I'm going to try not to get my tongue twisted, because last time I tried to read this, it got all twisted. By the first week of June 1944, Nazi Germany controlled most of Western Europe. Allied forces numbering 156,000 were poised to travel by ship or plane over the English Channel to attack the German army dug in at Normandy, France on June 5th. Eisenhower had a window of only 4 days of decent weather in which an invasion would be possible. When bad weather hit the Channel on June 4th, Eisenhower wrestled with the idea of postponing Operation Overlord. Weather conditions were predicted to worsen over the next 2 weeks, and he had thousands of personnel and thousands of tons of supplies that were, in his words, hanging on the end of a limb. After a promising but cautious report from his meteorologist at 9:45 p.m. on June 5th, Eisenhower told his staff to proceed. That night, from Allied headquarters in England, Ike, as he was later affectionately called, composed a solemn and inspirational statement that was delivered the next day as a letter into the hands of every soldier, sailor, and airman set to embark on Operation Overlord. In a radio delivery of the message, Eisenhower displayed the confidence and leadership skills that in 1952 would clinch his election to the presidency, reminding the men that the eyes of the world are upon you and that their opponents would fight savagely. Ike exhorted them to be brave, show their devotion to duty, and accept nothing less than victory. In closing, he wished his troops good luck and sought the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking. At the time, no one knew that, along with that statement, Eisenhower had also scribbled a note which he accepted all blame in case the mission failed. The note remained crumpled up in his pocket. Meanwhile, back at the White House in the afternoon of June 5th, President Roosevelt waited for word of Operation Overlord's commencement. According to Doris Kearns Goodwin in No Ordinary Time, Roosevelt had hoped to be in England with Churchill and Eisenhower for the monumental event, but his declining health made travel impossible. Instead, Roosevelt sat in his office tinkering the speech he planned to deliver once the invasion began. At his daughter and son's request, Roosevelt turned the speech into a prayer entitled Let Our Hearts Be Stout. First Lady Eleanor tried to go about her daily business, but felt suspended in space. At 3 a.m. Eastern Time on June 6, Roosevelt received the call that the invasion had commenced. He notified the nation by radio that night, saying, "At this poignant hour, I ask you to join with me in prayer." On June 8, 1944, after years of planning and preparation and placating egos among his military peers, Eisenhower was able to report that Allies had made a harrowing and deadly, but ultimately successful landing on the beaches of Normandy. I do hope you enjoyed this historical episode, and don't worry, I'll be doing one over the assassination of Reinhard Heydrich, so stay tuned for that. Oh, and I'll also be singing Prima Victoria from Sabaton's album Prima Victoria, an a cappella version sometime later today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, my Ravenettes. Bye!